I'm going to move on to topic number 3, though we're going to stick with the NBA. We're going to head over to the Eastern Conference, or actually we're out of the Eastern Conference because we just talked about the Nets. But one player who's been awesome in the playoffs that not enough people, I think, are talking about, now you want to bring it up, Brandon, was Trae Young. He has been outstanding in this postseason, his first postseason in the NBA.
I agree. Nobody's talking about him, so we definitely are going to. And I shouldn't say nobody, but not enough people are talking about him, honestly, because I think he's honestly been the star of the playoffs realistically and the MVP of the playoffs so far, especially for his team getting him this far, the Atlanta Hawks. But going back quickly to Giannis, the guy can't shoot. The guy can't shoot, and surprisingly, like people think he's one of the best players in the NBA, cannot shoot the ball a lick. You know, it reminds me of Ben Simmons. Him and Ben Simmons are in the same bucket right now where if they could develop an outside game, then I'd actually put them in the star category. But talking about a guy that can shoot from any point on the floor and from the logo, often he's hitting from the logo, Trae Young. I mean, Trae Young has just been unbelievable in these playoffs. And like I said, he's one of the few guys that can shoot from the logo and routinely knock it down. And I think that's only Trae Young, Steph Curry, and probably Dame Lillard right now. Maybe Klay Thompson when he gets healthy again as well. And those are probably the only guys that are going to be knocked down from that distance and where you're like, yeah, if he shoots that, it's going in. Trae Young has just been unbelievable in the playoffs. First, I love his swagger. Producer Ben's showing it right there. I love his swagger. I love his attitude. I love his confidence. The guy knows he's one of the best players in the NBA. And I talked about with this category being like, he's a star in the NBA, and I think was a star immediately when he came in the NBA. But I think with these playoffs, he's putting that super onto it and becoming an NBA superstar in front of our eyes and really just starting to light it up, especially on the playoff calendar, which we all know on the playoff stage, it's so hard to do. And he has just been knocking down shots and carrying the Atlanta Hawks. And like I said, I think single-handedly carried them by the New York Knicks and arguably one of the greatest basketball meccas in the world, right? In Madison Square Garden, the guy's knocking down game-winning shots, quieting down the Knicks fans. And then I think one of the best parts of that series was when they won and knocked out the Knicks. One of the Knicks players actually shoulder bumped him as he was walking by, and he just shrugged it off and was like, on to the next round. I'm moving on. It was such an awesome move, like just some more swagger and confidence to be like, man, you're old news at this point. We're moving on, and we've got to play a good team coming up here. And obviously they're in a battle right now. And I think the series is tied, but I mean, against Philly, you know what I mean? The series is tied against Philly 2-2. They're playing right now, but last I just checked, he's got 10 points in 11 minutes in this game 5 right now. So if Trae Young can go off in this game 5 and, you know, put the Hawks up 3-2, I'd have to say that the Hawks are looking strong going forward to be able to put Philly out. But don't count out Philly, especially with Embiid, because Embiid is actually one of those guys that can shoot from outside, unlike his teammate Ben Simmons. So it's just really one of those things where I think if Embiid shows up tonight or if Trae Young shows up tonight, which superstar wants to put the team on his back and get that big win? But, man, Trae Young, like I said, if you guys are new to basketball, maybe new to Comeback Sports, first, give us a like, give us a subscribe. But, man, check out Trae Young, man. This kid is unbelievable, just starting out his NBA career. And, I mean, this guy's going to be a superstar for a long time to come.
Yeah, no question. Like you mentioned, Brandon, at the bottom of our screen, we have a call-in number, so make sure you check that out. If you've got a question, you want to bring something up, you want to give your opinion on any of the topics we're talking about, or another sports opinion, give that number a call. Call us live during the show. You can leave them. You also got our Twitter handles at the bottom of the screen, so you can follow us on Twitter. We tweet out some of the links that we've been of some of the segments that we've been talking about over the past few weeks. We'll continue to do that. And also, when you're on YouTube, like Brandon mentioned, give us a subscribe. That helps us. It helps you, because if you subscribe to our channel, what's going to happen is anytime we put up a clip, it's going to go right into your feed. So you don't have to search for it. It's just right there. So make sure you subscribe to us on Comeback Sports. Heading back to Trae Young, I think the biggest thing with Young and why he's not considered or hasn't been considered, a big star yet is because of the whole Luka Doncic situation. So what happened is Dallas had, I believe, the 3rd pick in the draft, and Atlanta had 5. Maybe I'm messing that up. Let me get this correct. So Luka Doncic was actually picked by Atlanta in the 3rd pick in the draft. Dallas actually had the 5th pick in the draft. They took Trae Young, and then they traded both those players on draft day. So essentially, Dallas drafted Luka, and Atlanta drafted Trae Young, but Atlanta could have had Luka Doncic. And from that day on, Young and Doncic are just compared to each other. Luka Doncic has been so good to start his career because he was playing over in Europe against men instead of college basketball players. So Luka was ready to go from the beginning. Luka's going to be a top 5 player. He probably is already. He might even be a top 3 player next year. We'll see. But I think that's what's kind of hampered Trae Young's reputation as a star. But you're seeing here in the playoffs, his first playoff series, what kind of player he is. I also think he fits perfectly around his team. You look at that team, he's got, since Bojan Bogdanovic has come back, he's been great for the Hawks. I know DeAndre Hunter's out, and that's a big loss for them, but John Collins has been great. Clint Capella fits perfectly into their lineup because he doesn't need to score all the time. He's a rim runner and shot blocker. They have a really good semblance of a team in Atlanta that fits perfectly around Trae Young. They got guys who can play defense on the wing. So that's going to help him too. But he's been awesome, and it's just been fun to watch. He's averaging 28.3 points a game in the playoffs to go along with 10.7 assists in 9 playoff games. So he's been really good. I don't expect them to get past Philly. I think Philly's going to beat them this series, but Trae Young and the Hawks are going to make it really difficult on the Philadelphia 76ers.
I agree, man. I agree. So you're talking about how he averages 28 points right now in the playoffs. In the regular season, he averaged 25. So he's actually stepped his game up in the playoffs, which you always want to see from your star. But let's just go with his stat line from these New York Knicks games in the round 1. Game 1, 35 points. Game 2, 35 points. Game 3, 37 points. Game 4, 33 points. Game 5, the pivotal Game 5, 41 points to knock the Knicks out of the playoffs. So that was a big one. Then he coming into these Philly games. Look at this. Game 1 against Philly, 39. Game 2, 38. Game 3, 37. Game 4, 40. And right now he's on point. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Those are some of his minutes. I am so sorry. Those are some of his minutes.
Somebody's stats are wrong. Either yours or
mine. Because the 28 shouldn't be wrong. I'm sorry. Let's go back. In that knockout game against the Knicks, he had 36. Okay, so it wasn't the 41. It was 36. Sorry about that.
Only 36. That's
exactly. So I was off by 4 points. Sorry. He played 41 minutes. 36 points in 41 minutes, okay? But then in these Philly games, Game 1, 35 points. Game 2, 21. Game 3, 28. Game 4, 25. And right now he's got 10 points in 11 minutes. So it's just really one of those things where, man, he's been so consistent. And like you said, you need that from your star. And especially on the playoff stage, he's got to be the one that you look to, especially when you need a bucket in the clutch moment. And I think Trae Young has proven that he is that guy. And, man, I'm going to have to go with the Hawks, especially if he can have a big night tonight and keep doing what he's doing right now. He's on pace right now to put up 40 tonight. So if he keeps that up and maybe drops 40 or 50 tonight, I've got to see the Hawks winning this game and taking control of the series. But it's something that, I'll definitely be popping up my phone throughout the night, and maybe we'll check back in on that series.